Uh, Now we will move to Dr. Bagus, who will present the curriculum, I think, yeah, on how to produce Islamic psychologists. So before Dr. Bagus come to the stage, I would like to introduce a bit. So Dr. Bagus Riyono is an associate professor of psychology at Universitas Gadjah Mada, this university. He is the president of Islamic Association of Muslim Psychologists. His special interest is in organizational psychology and Islamic psychology. He formulated a meta theory in the field of motivation that integrates all theories of motivation that have become one grand theory of human behavior and have received appreciation from Japan, Germany, Netherlands, Russia, Pakistan, and Australia. He developed and conducts short course on Islamic psychology, and his latest work on the Tazkiyah therapy as an advancement of CBT. So please, Prof. Bagus, welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Asyhadu alla ilaha illallah, asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. I will like to present my idea. I mean, like everybody have ideas, so I hope that I can catch the essence, yeah, of why we need Islamic psychology based on the Makosid perspective. So what I'm going to present is my proposal to how to design and develop a curriculum, not only by structuring or restructuring the content or the topics, yeah, but also reconstructing. So that's the difference between restructuring and reconstructing. First of all, what is the problem of the conventional psychology? We know that everybody talk about it. Everybody say that the conventional psychology is not enough, doesn't help us to achieve, to elevate human dignity, doesn't help us to make us a full human, you know. Usually it's always partial. And even the worst is the psychology is used to manipulate people, to manipulate human being, like the psychology that they use in the media. They give indoctrination, they make brainwashing and so forth. Everything is actually based on the psychological science. So that's why we need to be critical, and we need not only to be critical, but also constructive, yeah, in how to develop the science of psychology, which we can rely to elevate human dignity, to respect human being with their dignity. In the Quran, it is said, Laqad karomna bani Adam. So Allah actually create human being in a high dignity, but then we don't preserve that. We make ourselves humiliated, dehumanization, disorientation, and so forth. And psychology is the discipline of science that is to blame that we become this confused and this disoriented. So that's why we need to think deeply, and we need to construct a new knowledge based on the Quranic message, as mentioned by Professor Auda in the keynote speech. So there are three actually issues that we need to focus on the first step. The first one is the purpose. So, do you know the purpose of psychology? In the conventional psychology, what is the purpose of psychology? Mental health? Yes? Is it? Humanity? Actually, the purpose of psychology in the conventional psychology is based on the hedonistic philosophy. Okay, so they want to be happy, but they don't want to struggle for it. They don't want to face reality. Okay, so this is the problem of psychology, the first issue in psychology. So if we as a Muslim and we focusing on specializing on psychology, we should align the purpose of this discipline with the purpose of the humanity itself, the purpose of why Allah create human. Okay, and the purpose is lakot karamna bani adama. So Allah created human in dignity, with dignity, and that term, I mean that expression, that statement is not manifest in the psychological science today. Okay, and in the discourse of human rights, the human dignity is overshadowed by freedom. Okay, and if we talk about human rights, we talk about freedom. Well, actually, human rights should elevate human dignity, because the statement in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, human being with equal dignity and rights. Freedom is something that is we are born with. Yeah, all human beings are born free with equal dignity and rights. So dignity is the purpose of our life in this world and in the hereafter, of course. And this is the purpose of Allah when He created human being. So that's why we need to redefine the purpose of psychology. The second thing, yeah, that we need to redefine and also we need to reconstruct is the object of study. If we want to elevate human dignity, and our object of study is just behavior, it's not enough. Dignity involves everything. It involves belief, values, intention. Behavior is just the surface of this. And when we focus on behavior, actually, what the purpose of studying behavior is just to manipulate, right? To manipulate behavior modification, to manipulate human being. It's not to elevate their dignity. And then we switch into the neuroscience, the brain. And as I follow this discourse of the brain science, the last conclusion of this brain science is said that human being doesn't have awareness. The human being doesn't have consciousness, because what they do is just on and off and on and off and on and on. So that's not dignity. The science of the brain make us look like a robot. Okay? And we don't respect, but the interesting thing is that those who tell us that we are like robot, they don't want to be a robot. So they make like discrimination. Yeah. They, as the scientists, tells us that human being is just like a robot, but they themselves think that they are not robot. Okay, because they think they can manipulate everyone with AI, with whatever it is. So those who feel anxious with I think you need to go to a therapist. Okay, because AI should be under our control. We shouldn't be worried about AI. If we can understand our potential. Okay. So the object of study, as we all agree, should be the soul and the heart and the potential of it, the ability, the modality. That is that way we can understand human being in essence, in essence, yeah. And the third is method. Yeah, method is actually is not quite severe, but when you talk about method and you talk about evidence-based science and you what you define as evidence is something that is observable, then that make it become a problem. Because when we focus on the soul or the heart, not everything is observable. Okay? And actually, the Quranic message says that Allah show the ayat, the signs in the universe, which is observable, and the nafs in the anfus, which is not observable, but you can feel it. That's your identity. So psychology should develop knowledge and science on these unseen things, which is the soul. And the ghaib doesn't mean it's not there. Ghaib means it is there, but you cannot see it with your eyes. That's ghaib. But you can feel it in your heart. So that's why Prof. Jazir said, you should see with your heart, not your eyes. Okay? You should understand with your heart, not your brain. Because in English, there is no I know by brain. Is that any term? I know by brain. But there's a term I know by heart. Right? When you memorize something, you say you know by heart, not you know by brain. So actually, unconsciously, if we borrow the Freudian term, all human beings actually have the idea, they have the correct ideas about themselves, but then psychology break it down, misguide them. But naturally, we understand that the essence of ourself is the heart. When you love someone, you don't talk about your brain, you talk about your blood, your heart. When you are disappointed, you have broken heart, not broken brain. Okay? So naturally, intuitively, actually, we know that our self is lies in our heart. Our identity lies in our heart. Psychology misguide you. So psychology is very dangerous science, I think. Yeah. So when we talk about method, we can accommodate like empiricism, because empiricism means we should have evidence. We should have evidence when we claim something. We should claim something based on evidence. And in Arabic, evidence is ayat. Ayat is evidence. So the whole Quran actually is evidence. The evidence of the creation of Allah, the evidence from Allah. Okay, that everything that is written in the Quran is evidence. So everything that is written in the Quran should give us knowledge that we can construct theories and understanding about a human life. Okay, how come so? I thought I just stopped 5 minutes, but it's already 20 minutes. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I just want to browse this. But actually, we are not that, you know, I mean, we already produced something. Yeah, I just want to show you. We already have the International Journal of Islamic Psychology, and this year it's already 6 volumes. Yeah. So one, I mean, some of your papers, if qualified, we can publish it in here. And then we already have ISSN. Yeah, we just need to go to Scopus later on, inshallah. Okay, and then we also have collaboration, especially in Indonesia. Is more than 20 universities has signed an agreement to develop Islamic psychology. Most of them are Muhammadiyah University, yeah, because Muhammadiyah is very strong, yeah. I hope Muhammadiyah in Australia also develop Islamic psychology, yeah, because they have university in Australia. Okay, so there's publication, collaboration is there. Now we need to move forward to develop the curriculum, yeah, into the study program, into the universities, the college, yeah, on psychology, and the 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 important thing of curriculum is the textbook, not the structure of topics, yeah, the textbook, because the textbook will give you the ideas, the concept, the theories, and so forth. And what should be in the textbook of psychology when we already integrate Islamic psychology? I have some proposal here. At least this is the content. First, we have to talk about the purpose of life. We have to teach our students about the purpose of life. Okay, that's psychology. And then the second, we have to study the soul and the heart. It's not impossible because you can feel it. Okay, you can you can use like interviews. You can use many methods can be done to understand the heart. Like when you do counseling, actually you are understanding the heart. If you are aware, I mean, like you don't just focusing on the thought and also the emotion, but you have to go inside the heart, because when people suffers, actually there's something wrong in the heart, and that suffering maybe it's emotional, but the core is in the heart. And also the next, we need to what is oh we need to teach, yeah, we need to teach about what is the basic human potential, which is called fitrah. So I call no, this is I don't claim that fitrah is human potential, but fitrah, one of the aspect of the fitrah is the potential, because it is something that is given to us by Allah, and we can develop it or we can ignore it. Okay, the word tazkiyah means develop. Tatsiyah, the opposite of tazkiyah, means ignore or make it idle. So if we are not developing ourselves, then we are not developing our potential, fitrah. So fitrah is not a static thing. Fitrah is given to be developed. That's why we need to do tazkiyah. And then we also need to learn about the reality of the up and down of the psychological states. Yeah. So that's why we are not only talking about how it should be, but we also have to study about what is happening to these individuals. Yeah, the psychological state, it's up and down, and we have to study that. And then the last but not least, we have to develop the wait a minute, is that oh sorry, we have to redefine psychological health because psychological health it's not just accepting, it's not just feeling good, but it's more than that. Okay, so we have to redefine psychological health, and then we need to develop a psychological intervention. And inshallah, yesterday we have a workshop about Tazkiyah therapy. As that's a one form of psychological intervention. Inshallah, we will develop that method, that approach further in the coming years. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Bagus. Pak Bagus already explain the method, the object of the study, the agenda that we need to do it together. And that's maybe what Sister Hanan already addressed. We need to collaborate. Maybe some of you will write a book about that or research about that. Then we can making it together. So we still have like about 20 minutes of time to discuss. So if anyone want to share their insight or asking question or clarify, please do so. Yeah, the first one from the back. Anyone? Yes. Prof and Mubarak. So the first one from the back first. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to ask the questions. Thank you for the speakers also. We get many insightful content from your presentation. I'm Zaki from Jakarta, Indonesia. I have one question, especially for Dr. B.
For Dr.
Bagus.
Ya, Pak Bagus, yes.
Actually, I'm really agree with point of Dr. Bagus said that we have to make or redefine a method as a conventional psychology method is problematic for us, as you mentioned before, coined by empiricism. But what comes to my mind is, so what is the solution? I mean, if we reject the empiricism, do we have to change to rationalism, or what is the solution if we have to use something with the suffix ism or something like that? Or I mean, in Indonesia especially, in my view, the research in the student, it is, they are encouraged to make a kind of intervention and also experiment that have to use the instrument, psychological instrument, and it is also, we relate to, what is it, the stimulus, the phenomenon, and I think it's not really different with what we critique in empiricism. Like we have a sabar indicators, something like that, because it is not like Dr. Bagus said before, we cannot know the sabar from just the outer side of the people, right? So if I can ask questions, it's really frightened me because I cannot find the answer for this question. Thank you, Dr. Bagus, speakers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Zaki, for your question. Really very thoughtful question for a student. Yeah, so Pak Bagus, you want to, answer.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that it's not that we avoid or we reject empiricism. The problem of the conventional psychology is partialism. Okay, you know, when you use empirical study, you say that something that cannot be observed is not there. So that means you don't believe in the God. And that's very, very dangerous for Muslim if you don't believe in the God, right? So if you adopt the definition of empiricism as that way, then you should be, make tawbah, yeah, because then you don't believe in the God.
Astaghfirullahaladzim.
Astaghfirullahaladzim. So what is proposed here is not rejecting that or that, but we are integrating. We don't just use one method. We have to use multi-method, and also we have to use what do you call it? A transdiscipline perspective, because human being cannot be separate. I mean, like cannot be divided. Human being is the soul. It's not the body. The body can be divided. This hand, this feet, and head. But the soul, how you divide the soul? You cannot divide. So that is why when we study about the soul, we should not just focus on one side. We have to understand the multidimensionality of the soul, of the heart, of the feeling, of the thought, yeah, of the logic, and so forth. So you have to change your perspective, not just rejecting the method, but understanding how they define the method, and then criticizing it, and then reconstructing it. So you make a more comprehensive, a multi-method, transdisciplinary approach in your study, because that is the characteristic of the soul. It is not divisible. It's not divisible, right? You understand? Because the founder of empiricism actually is Ibn al-Haytham. But Ibn al-Haytham do physics with the niyyah, with the purpose to be closer to Allah. Yeah, Ibn al-Haytham is the first scientist. He's the one who invented the method of experimental study.
Pak Bagus, maybe he also want to know like how to measure something that not merely behavior, something like that. Yeah.
When you do interview, you don't just measure the behavior, right?
So don't use instrument only.
Instrument
that's what
is just the indicator. Like if you use thermometer to diagnose your health, you just see the heat of your body, but there's doesn't tell about the whole condition of the individual. You have to use thermometer. You have to use scanning, whatever, anything that is available, so that you understand the true condition. Okay.
So maybe in terms of research method, we should use the more comprehensive.
Yes, and multi-method way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I see that Sister Hanan and Prof. Rasul also want to add something. That's something that's interesting.
I'd like to add something to that, because what Bagus said, that Ibn Haytham about experimentation. But you have to think at that time, it was not only about experimentation, it was about observation. Yeah, it was intuition. Yeah? It's about rationalization, but also, it was ijtihad, because
ijtihad
is to make an interpretation of the thermometer. The thermometer does not tell you, it tells you that there's temperature, but doesn't mean the temperature. You have to make some sort of interpretation. Thank you.
I just wanted to add, in the discipline of Islamic psychology, it's very integrative, even in terms of the sciences that accepts. So it's not only the theological science, metaphysical, but it's also empirical. But there is like a boundary where empiricism takes place. For example, we wouldn't who were trying to interview normal everyday Muslims so that they can actually operationalize what a level of Iman. This is not how you use empirical science. You know, Iman has its own definitive understanding and its constructs, but we're not going to go and use empiricism to go and operationalize, you know, one's level of Iman. You know, you can look at, okay, if you're going to do clinical work, what is one's measure of religiosity on the spectrum? Where are they now? You know, you can measure, for example, smoking behavior, any types of behaviors. But when it comes to Islamic concepts, it's not about using empirical science to understand them. We have the foundational work in the Quran and Sunnah ijtihad to already understand that. But then you can use empirical science to try and measure human behavior. Yeah, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but in the medical, and because we accept the metaphysical sciences as is, you know, as is. But in terms of human behavior, that's where. So you can have an integrative approach in looking at human behavior. And in Islamic psychology, all those different types of sciences are acceptable as long as it doesn't contradict with the Quran and Sunnah. And that's how you can reconcile, you know. So I'm sure because I was in that same position when I was doing psychology before I was introduced to Islam and psychology. I was really struggling with those concepts. And when, you know, Allah yarhamah, when Professor Malik Badri came to Australia, when I was in my second year psychology and explained Islamic psychology, this is the answer, you know, because it's comprehensive in and of itself.
Comprehensiveness. Congratulations, Jackie, that your question inspire us to think more deeply, so that in the context of research, if you only use instrument, then we understand that its limitation. Yeah, okay. I think the hang on. Maybe, yeah.
Thank you, sister. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think we have reached an agreement for the last 40 years that we have to depart from the Western secular psychology. That's agreed upon. It's taken for granted. But what have we done? All of you have presented the importance of collaboration. All of you agreed that we have to not structure, but reconstruct. We have to build from scratch. And we have to have the foundation based on Quran and Sunnah. Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? I think we've been talking enough. So one of the recommendations I would propose to you all that we have to form groups for the framework, for the model, plus for writing the textbooks. Within 2-3 years, we can pilot them. So let us start. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu lima taquluna ma la taf'alun. Why you say what you don't do? It's the most hateful thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think Sister Hanan will explain. Yeah, please.
I thank you for your commentary and statement. With all due respect, I do believe there's a lot that's been done in the last 10 years in Islamic psychology. There's a lot more Islamic psychology textbooks. There's a lot more textbooks looking at clinical applications. There's a lot more textbooks looking at theoretical models. I believe that statement was true 40 years ago, you know, even 20 years ago, because I used to argue at IAMP conferences, what are we doing? We're just talking, you know, but I can confidently say that there are steps. There are institutions now teaching Islamic psychology. You know, what we should be saying is that we can always do better, you know, but to say that there isn't steps, I mean, Professor Rasul, you know, mashallah, he's written multiple textbooks on theoretical models and application models that I use to teach in my course that I teach. You know, Dr. Amber Haq, you know, mashallah, his publications for the last 3 decades. So I'm here defending the Islamic psychology scholars, you know, and academics who have been working through this, you know, so, but we can do better, which is why I suggested we need ethical frameworks. We do, you know, we can't work in silos. We need to collaborate. And I think that there have been attempts to collaborate, but we can always do better, because in Islam, we always have to reach ihsan, you know, which is excellence, spiritual excellence.
Yeah.
So we can do better, you know, inshallah.
Big applause for all the Islamic psychology scholar. Thank you very much for working hard for the last 2 decades. Yeah. Any more question? Or maybe, yeah, Pak Mubarak asking question since the beginning. So maybe you can pass the microphone to.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, monggo Pak. Yeah. Zaki, yeah.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I just want to remind you, my name is Ahmad Lubis, not Mubarak.
Ahmad Lubis.
Yeah, thank you very much. I listen to the speakers. Maybe I'm only the one here not having background in psychology and Islamic psychology. My background is material engineering. I'm here because of the. I'm from the Triple IT Indonesia, signed, given the Amanah for Indonesia and representative with Dr. Habib Irzin with other colleagues. I'm glad that when I come here, I realized just from the few speakers, not all yet, the Islamic psychology is very rich. Yeah. And then I listened to Dr. Bagus. It has been a lot of things done already, step by step, dot by dot, from the beginning. Of course, I asked Dr. Olga that this is not the only one, the Islamic Psychology Forum. Yeah, and then I discussed with Dr. Bagus from the beginning when we proposed this to Triple IT. There's some kind of the strategic step from here. I think Professor Daud also trying to motivate them and then try to, because this is a good forum, because mostly the present here from the psychology background, probably. And then in Indonesia, I realized this is the largest forum for the Islamic psychologists, that meeting. I just want to ask Dr. Bagus, because I discussed with him, because there is a step forward to the future from these activities, try to make the handbooks of psychology. Yeah, I just would like to ask Dr. Bagus, what's kind of the roadmap that you expect to develop here from whatever the existing that we have in here, especially Indonesia, maybe we can adopt from outside. What is the things that we like to make forward to the future? Because this is really important for the Triple IT to see the event of Islamic psychology not staying
in the same stage.
Bergerak di tempat, stay in place, but moving forward and then develop the search, develop the text mention, develop the strategic webinars, not just the same issues. I think will be a lot of issues, especially for facing the global world and then with the dynamic, the grading of the morality. Like yesterday, we have the International Islamic Conference on Islamic Epistemology in Al-Azhar. So there are two big events this week in Indonesia.
MashaAllah. Yeah, that's a good sign.
And then yesterday, Professor Alwi Shihab mentioned also the importance, the Islamic values raised to the world. So this is also the challenge, how Islamic psychology, in terms of humanities, is, I think, really, we can really fulfill the needs, not just for the Muslim, but for the common people in the world, because Islam is a universal values.
Yes.
And then I just came back from Cambodia last week. They opened the new university, the first university in Cambodia, built by the Muslim and supported by the government. So this is kind of the Islamic values, and everywhere people can really, even though not Muslim, they can adapt it. And that, I think, I would like to listen from this forum, up to the end. Inshallah, I'll follow up to the end. I'd like just to give
Alhamdulillah.
to send the
Thank
message
you very much. We need triple IT.
good things. I think Professor Daud also have, can also mention to the triple IT. I know it's
Mashallah.
a good relationship with triple IT. And this is really important for us.
Thank you very much.
I take this chance to mention in front of all the psychologists here in order to move forward and then bring this to Indonesia. And I try to convince triple IT. I think this is important to let the international speakers. The effort made by the Dr. Bagus and then Dr. Amy from various universities, also in Yogyakarta, they try to struggle to bring this Islamic psychology to the mainstream of the university in Indonesia. I think it works out up to today.
And now in Universitas Gadjah Mada.
Yeah. Okay.
The most secular university.
Secular university in psychology. But I think Ibu Diana, Professor Diana, right now, try to not to raise the secular psychology again. So I just
no, it's like something like
regarding this matter, probably Professor and also Professor Hanan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We thank you very much for Triple IT for the support, and we really I think we will answer this question in the board meeting, right? And we'll report back to you, inshallah. So we will have another one last question, I think, from the audience. I think, you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Saeed Al-Dhafri from Sultan Qaboos University, Sultanate of Oman. Thank you very much for the three speakers. I just have a question or just a follow-up with Dr. Hanan. You raised a very important issue, and I think we need to have some actions regarding the establishing ethics, establishing regulation. You listed, mashallah, many universities, association, organization that work in the Islamic psychology. And I was thinking, can we, like one of the recommendation from this summit, establish something like the APA for the Islamic psychology, which can like form a task force in order to establish a comprehensive guideline for Islamic psychology ethics. And this guidelines should direct all those people all around the world who are specialized or would like to specialize in Islamic psychology.
Inshallah. You want to respond or? Okay. After this, we will have board meeting International Association of Muslim Psychologists, and I think we can announce what we will discuss after the meeting. Thank you very much for everyone. I know that most of you want to ask questions, but we come to the end of the session, and I think we have like a comprehensive answer. Why should we do the Islamize the psychology? Thank you very much, and see you in the next session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.